Okay, so what's the difference between four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive? Rain, sleet, hail, and snow. What do they all have in common? Well, they can really up your driving, especially if you're trying to get to your girlfriend's house in some little wrong-wheel drive jalopy with a blizzard howling outside. Okay, so your front or rear-wheel drive isn't designed to tackle that sort of turbulence. Then what is? I mean, how about a badass brawler with four-wheel drive? But what about SUVs and sports cars with all-wheel drive? Will they get you there? And what the hell's the difference between four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive anyway? Well, if you don't know, you better stick around, because in this video, we're gonna tell you everything that you need to know about the four-wheel drive versus the all-wheel drive debate. And if you're new here, my name's Brad Danger, this is Ideal, so please subscribe and turn on that notification bell, because we're dropping the edutainment heat pretty much every single day. All right, you ready? Because I am. Buckle up, and let's go. Okay, so you want a car that's gonna handle well in hairy conditions? Well, then you definitely wanna get one with all-wheel drive, because you're gonna wanna be pushing all that power down to all four wheels. And if you want a straight up bruiser, then you're gonna want a truck, SUV, or Jeep with four-wheel drive. And this is Tina, and she gets just about anywhere that you need to go, and some places that you don't. But if you're a novice car buyer, you may not know the difference between either. And both are good in their own right, and both have their pros and cons. And sure, both will put power to all four wheels, but which one do you choose? Well, that could be the difference between gliding comfortably down a snowy road and ending up in a ditch. So I'm gonna start out with the more common all-wheel drive, which is way more popular than four-wheel drive, and I think it's because it's on a lot of Audis and Subarus and just normal daily drivers, where this thing over here, yeah, I mean, we do daily drive it, but well, we'll get to the four-wheel drive in a minute. Okay, it was getting a little chilly out there, and it's getting a little too snowy to drive that Porsche 911 in the snow because I have summer tires on it. So we're gonna talk about all-wheel drive in here and why it's more popular than four-wheel drive. And that's really because car makers have optimized all-wheel drive for on-road use. So it begs the question, is it better than four-wheel drive on-road? Well, maybe? See, all-wheel drive, it has the ability to send torque to all four tires simultaneously. And that's while modulating the amount of torque between the inside and outside wheel to maximize grip. And that is the name of the game, really. Grip. The arch nemesis of the evil twin slip. Man, I just rhymed, I didn't even mean to. And you guys know that more grip means more cornering speed and less slippage on each wheel when driving in the treacherous weather. Now, how does all-wheel drive actually get all that grip? Well, it uses fancy differentials to distribute power to whatever wheel that needs it the most based on slip. Or it'll even take power away from a wheel if necessary. For example, the Subaru WRX STI uses an additional center differential, which acts just like the other differentials in each of the axles, but instead of splitting power between the left and right, it splits it from the front and the back. And with an STI, you can choose your front to rear torque split. So if you want it to be rear wheel biased, just scroll that thing back and feel the driving dynamics change completely. But not every all-wheel drive has full-time all-wheel drive or have a trick 3 differential setup like the STI. The other type of all-wheel drive system is called automatic all-wheel drive, and it ditches the center differential, and instead the automatic all-wheel drive uses a transaxle to power one set of wheels. And that's while the drive shaft moves power to a differential on the opposing axle. This setup has some serious pros and cons, since the transaxle powered wheels get most of the power, which means it only gets the benefits of all-wheel drive in low traction situations. The full-time all-wheel drive, on the other hand, can put equal power to all four wheels. Another good thing about automatic all-wheel drive is that it takes up less space and allows the car to run more efficiently when running exclusively through its transaxle. So if you're as confused as I am about what I just said, don't worry. The main point is that even among only all-wheel drive systems, there are some major differences in bad weather performance and MPGs. But what about four-wheel drive, like on the Jeep? Yeah, I bet you're imagining this. Or maybe this. Yeah, it really is nice sometimes seeing trucks and Hummers used for what they were actually intended for. And if you're enjoying this video, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Because no, I don't mean dominating 3 parking spaces at once, which some Hummers are good at as well. You see, four-wheel drive vehicles are designed to take on some of the most challenging terrain on the planet. And that is, of course, if you give yourself enough ground clearance and some proper tires, because that is what meets the road, or the dirt in this case. But did you know that cars or trucks with four-wheel drive generally don't use the four-wheel drive all the time? Yeah, no matter how many 4x4 badges manufacturers throw at you, your Brodozer probably isn't driving all of its wheels all the time. So unlike all-wheel drive cars that constantly power all four wheels, most four-wheel drive systems are turned on by turning either a knob or pushing a button or shifting into it. And maybe if you're Doctor Strange, you can do it with your mind. So why isn't four-wheel drive powering all four wheels at the same time? Are you being deceived by your Jeep? Well, it's basically when four-wheel drive is selected, it locks the front and rear differential together, making both wheels on each axle turn at the same speed. So what if you're driving on paved roads? Well, normally a car's wheels rotate at different speeds when turning a corner. So when a four-wheel drive system locks the front and rear drive shafts together, you get all four wheels going the same exact speed. So if you were trying to take a sharp corner with a four-wheel drive, your driveline's just gonna bind up and you'll both be feeling it and hearing it and just all the mean shakes and rattles, kind of like a massage chair, if you will. Except it's a terrifying, life-threatening event. And if you turn in too sharp, your front tires might hop and just lose grip off the asphalt. And that, to put lightly, is just not something that you want. So why are four-wheel drives even sold then? It sounds just downright worse than all-wheel drive, right? But wait, do all-wheel drives still beat out four-wheel drives on loose surfaces like snow and sand and mud? Well, no, not exactly. In four-wheel drive, the locked up axles actually provide more grip than all-wheel drive. But won't the front wheels on a four-wheel drive vehicle just kind of hop around like the Energizer Bunny? Well, no, they don't actually. Instead of hopping around, the front tires are actually able to lock together with the rear tires. So they move around more freely on not so solid surfaces. So while you might just confuse your fancy all-wheel drive differential in snow, sand, and mud, your four-wheel drive vehicle will just lock together and trudge right through it. That's why you see four-wheel drives in off-roading monsters like the Jeep Grand Cherokee Trailhawk or the Ram 1500 Rebel. However, there are capable front and rear wheel drives for the avid off-roader, like this Mark 7 GTI or this Porsche 911 Safari. Because traction doesn't just have to do with the wheels that they power. Cars with better suited tires and less powered wheels can be just as capable, or maybe even more so, than ones with ultra powered wheels and trashy burnt out tires. I'll say it again, grip. Yes, grip is the name of the game. And another factor that weighs into grip is, well, weight. No, like W-E-I-G-H-T. Don't wait for me. Just weight, the heaviness. Because having a lighter car is better in certain situations. And that's why Subarus are well respected for their off-roadiness, whether they're slinging mud or spitting out sand. Their light builds compared to other four or all-wheel drive models make them an absolute off-road weapon. A brand new Subaru WRX tips the scales at roughly 3,300 pounds. Whereas a two-door Jeep Wrangler is 700 pounds more. That's pretty light for a four-wheel drive rig, but Subarus are just that much lighter. So, while it's important to know the differences between four-wheel and all-wheel drive, it's also important to understand that it's not everything. But the answer to the question, what is the difference between four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive? Well, it isn't that simple, as I'm sure I showed you in this video. If I were you, I'd stick to all-wheel drive for on-road use and maybe the occasional off-road stint. But if the Baja 1000 is calling your name, then it's gotta be four-wheel drive or die, baby. And again, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. It lets us know to make more content like this. And if you're new here, I'm Brad Danger. This is Ideal. Please subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and as always, keep living the ideal lifestyle.